Hello YouTube. It's been a long time since I've made any videos. Um, some of you may know me from making Easy Tunes, probably about 3 years ago, under the name as Nagrom777. I've switched my I have a new username since then. So I'll be making tutorials and stuff under that. Don't really expect to see me making any more Easy Tune stuff, just because I'm not really doing that anymore. But currently I'm going to show you a tutorial with RPG Maker XP. Particularly, this tutorial is going to be a karma system, which honestly I don't think I've seen any videos on YouTube for, and I find that kind of odd, since it's pretty easy, and it would be a nice little system for a lot of games. What I'm going to have set up in this tutorial is here we're going to have a dog, and you're going to have two options, whether you want to pet the dog or you want to kick it, and one option is obviously going to raise your karma while the other one will lower it. And then this guy will react differently depending on whether your karma is lower or higher. We'll start with the dog, and we'll show choices here. Our choice number 1 will be pet dog. Choice number 2 will be kick dog. And then when you pet, we will control variables. I have mine, number 1, it's said to be karma. You can make yours say whatever you want, but karma makes the most sense. If you pet the dog, you want it to add 1. This is raising your karma by 1. If you kick the dog, or your control variable, and we want to subtract 1, don't make the mistake of putting -1. If you put -1 and subtract, this would technically be plus. It would be adding 1 again. You could technically have to add -1, but it gets a little confusing. Just subtract 1 to karma. So if you kick the dog, it subtracts 1. If you pet the dog, it adds 1. We'll put some text so you know that you've done something. You pet the dog, and you kick the dog. I don't enforce kicking dogs. I don't think that's a good idea. But for the sake of the tutorial, that's what we're going to use. And then there's this guy, who will react differently depending on whether you have good or bad karma. So we'll start a conditional branch, and I'm going to uncheck set handling when conditions do not apply, because currently I don't need that for this. Variable karma is equal to 0. This means if you have no good or bad karma, which is how you will start off, you'll have 0. All variables start off as 0 until you tell them to be something else. So 0 karma, he will say, hey, you're normal. Normal. I couldn't spell it while I was saying it. Hey, you're normal. Okay, so we'll have another conditional branch. In case you're curious how I'm doing this, then I'm just pressing, I'll select this and Control-C copies and Control-V paste. I'll need 3. This will be karma is greater than or equal to 1. So if your karma is 1 or higher, this will happen. And he will say, hey, you're a great guy. Exclamation point, why not? And if your karma is less than or equal to -1. You want a -1 here. If it's less than or equal to -1. So if it's -1, -2, and lower, then it will be, well, he will say, hey, you suck. Another exclamation point. He really means it. Hey, you suck. Okay, so if we try it like this, and play, yes, then we'll talk to him first. Hey, you're normal. Our karma's at 0, so we pet the dog. That adds 1 to our karma, and he says, hey, you're a great guy. If we kick the dog right now, then that subtracts 1 from 1, so we have 0 again, so we're normal again. And if we kick the dog again, that should put us, hey, you suck. So now he doesn't think very fondly of us. If we kick the dog again, just to show you, he still says, hey, you suck. I have time, so I'll show you something else. We'll go ahead and edit the if you pet the dog, and we'll say that if you're we need another conditional branch in our else. I turn the here. I'll show you what I did there. I turn this back on, and that makes it where if this isn't true, which I need to set this, the karma will be equal to 1. If the karma is equal to 1, then he will say, hey, you're a great guy. Otherwise, which is what else is, if our karma is not 1, then he will say, I'm going to make it where if our karma is not 1, but is instead greater than or equal to 2, then he will say, hey, you're the best ever. It seems a bit much for petting a dog twice, but he really likes petting dogs. And then we'll say we change items. And just for fun, we'll say he will give you a potion for every karma you have. So we'll apply that, and I'll show you what this does. We talk to him, hey, you're normal. So we'll pet the dog a couple times. Pet, and pet again. So that puts us at 2, which means that he will say, hey, you're the best ever. Now if we look in our items, we have 2 potions now. And if we pet the dog maybe 2 more times, so now our karma's at +4. If we talk to this guy, he'll give us 4 more potions, so we'll have a total of 6. Because it'll add on to the other 2. So we're the best ever, and now we have 6 potions. Obviously you would want to put a limit on this, because that would be kind of cheating if you left it like this in game. But, I mean, for the sake of the tutorial, it'll show you what I mean. If we don't fix this, then you could get as many potions as you ever wanted. But just to show you how karma setting up a basic karma system works, that'll do. So, if you have any other ideas for tutorials, things you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll be sure, well, I'll see what I can do as far as showing them to you. I'm not like the greatest person ever as far as things go on this using RPG Maker, but I'm pretty good about avoiding using scripts when I have to. I've done a lot of stuff that doesn't use scripts that some people would probably go find a script for. So just suggest some stuff, and I'll see if I can't make a tutorial for it. I'd like to make some tutorials for RPG Maker, but I just don't have any ideas. For now, that'll conclude this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful.